Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is a new edition of Africa Today. My name is Amal Mukhtar. Egypt's export to Africa rise 13%, and Minister of Trade and Industry Ahmed Samir have stated that Egypt's export to Africa surged 13% year on year. We have more in the following report.
Trade and Industry Ahmed Samir stated that Egypt's exports to Africa surged 13% year on year to $6 billion between January and October. Top Egyptian exports to Africa were marble, cement, polyethylene, and phosphate fertilizers. The recent figures superseded expectations by the Egyptian Chamber of Chemical Industries at the Federation of Egyptian Industries, which estimated exports to Africa to do $5.5 billion. In June, the volume of trade exchange between Egypt and the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA countries, reached $4.3 billion in 2022. In August, the country's trade deficit shrank by 22.3% to reach $3.8 billion, down from $4.9 billion in August 2022. Egypt's trade deficit declined by 23.5% during the fiscal year 2022-23, primarily due to a significant decline in non-oil imports.
Egypt plans to establish commercial centers in Africa and increase exports. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli reviewed some proposals that would contribute to increasing trade exchange with African countries. Egypt accounts for the largest share of the volume of intra-trade within COMESA. The details in the following report.
Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli reviewed some proposals that would contribute to increasing trade exchange with African countries. The Prime Minister referred to the ongoing directives of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to the government, emphasizing the importance of working to strengthen the Egyptian presence in Africa and supporting various cooperation frameworks in the continent in different fields in a way that contributes to achieving common interests and strengthening relations. Minister of Trade and Industry Ahmed Samir reviewed several indicators of the current Egyptian presence in the African market, noting that the volume of Egyptian exports to the continent during the period from January to October of this year reached approximately 6 billion Egyptian pounds, with an increase rate of about 13%. The minister added that marble, cement, polyethylene, and phosphate fertilizers are among the most important Egyptian exports to the continent. Regarding the COMESA bloc, Samir explained that Egypt is currently one of the most important economic powers within COMESA and plays an important role in achieving more economic integration among the member countries. He also said that Egypt pays great attention to participating in various technical events and meetings that are held. Egypt accounts for the largest share of the volume of intertrade within COMESA, as the trade exchange between Egypt and the bloc reached its highest levels in 2022.
UN agency have warned that the hunger catastrophe is looming in war-ravaged Sudan. The details in the following report.
The World Food Programme's latest food security analysis of the country shows the worst hunger level ever recorded during the harvest season, October through February, which is typically a period when more food is available. The agency added that if there is no significant increase in assistance by the time the lean season arrives next May, conflict hotspots such as the capital Khartoum, the Darfurs, and the Kordofans could fall into catastrophic hunger, also known as Phase 5 on the Integrated Food Security Phase classification, the most extreme stage. The UN agency issued an urgent call for the warring parties to agree a humanitarian pause and help provide unfettered access to save the lives of people trapped by active fighting. Sudan, once described as East Africa's potential breadbasket, is starting at a deepening hunger crisis as the conflict approaches its 8th month. In April, clashes erupted between the rival Sudanese armed forces, which answers to the military government, and the rapid support forces, with each group's leader vying for overall control. In addition to the impact of food security, the violence also left the country's health system in tatters and displaced millions within the country and sent refugees fleeing to its borders. Nearly 18 million people across Sudan are facing acute hunger, more than double the number suffering the same time a year ago. The figure is also higher than the initial projection of 15 million living with acute hunger made in the previous assessment in August. Currently, close to 5 million people are in emergency levels of food insecurity, with over three-quarters confined to areas where humanitarian access has been intermittent and in some cases impossible due to ongoing fighting.
Well, Egypt plans to establish commercial centers in Africa as Egypt exports to Africa rise 13% in 10 months. Well, to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have this phone with Her Excellency Ambassador Sou'ad Shalaby, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good afternoon, Your Excellency.
Good afternoon.
Well, Your Excellency Ambassador Shalaby, when President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi was the President of the African Union, he said that the future of trade in the whole world is in Africa. How can you read this statement?
Yes, of course, because it is a virgin market. It is a virgin place where all the raw materials have not been utilized, have not been explored yet. So Africa is a great market for Egypt, especially that Egypt is the power behind the economic power, together with South Africa, with Nigeria. It plays an important role in economic integration among the members of COMESA and among the members of the African Free Trade Area.
Yes.
So it is an important destination for Egyptian investors and trade.
Yes. Also, Your Excellency Ambassador Shalaby, Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli have reviewed some proposals that would contribute to increasing the trade exchange with African countries. So how do you view the importance of working in order to strengthen the Egyptian presence in Africa, and also supporting various cooperation frameworks in the continent in different fields?
Yes, of course, it is very important to have those centers to increase the trade and to increase the investment, the Egyptian investment. And of course, Egypt is a leader in that field because we are hoping to ensure sustainable growth not only in Egypt but in other African countries, and also to link with key strategic countries for long-term investment and trade in order to ensure sustainable development.
Yes.
So for Egypt, it's a win-win situation.
Yes. Yes, Your Excellency Ambassador Shalaby, Egypt is currently one of the most important economic powers within the COMESA. So, and also plays an important role in achieving more economic integration among the member countries. What's your comment on this?
Yes, of course, we have to benefit from the trade agreements that Egypt signed with African countries and blocs such as COMESA and African Continental Free Trade Agreement, and that is why the Egyptian Ministry of Trade and Industry is expanding the participation and the specialized exhibition and also Egypt expands and increases the commercial representation in other African countries, because Egypt is mostly the large potential contributor to the market, whether it is exports from Egypt to Libya, Sudan, East Africa, Kenya, Uganda, Algeria. So many countries are
Yes.
depending on the exports of Egypt. And
Yes.
the investments, the Egyptian investments are in Ethiopia, in Uganda, are also large investment of whether it is public or private investment. So
Yes.
it is better to strengthen the ties, economic ties with Africa, especially in the recent years. As we have seen, there was a significant progress in creating a single market for goods and services across the continent, and Egypt has been increasing its investments in various African countries in the field of infrastructure and energy.
Yes, it's true, because Ambassador Shalaby, because trade exchange between Egypt and the COMESA have reached its highest levels in the year 2022, reaching $4.3 billion since 2 years ago. Well, there are also 15 commercial representation offices across the continent. These offices support and enhance the trade cooperation between various countries. So what are the factors that support Egypt's status as a regional gateway for trade and investment?
Of course, Egypt is trying to remove all the obstacles that are facing investment in Africa, and it's also trying to open new horizons of cooperation, because there's mutual interest, mutual cooperation, mutual interest between Egypt and the different African countries. And as you know, that the Africa accounts for 16.7% of the world population.
Yes.
This is according to the data from UNCTAD. So that means that it is a huge market for Egyptian products. And so it is important for Egypt to invest in infrastructure development of agriculture, fisheries, health, and also to provide ways and means of exporting goods through airlines, through marine, through maritime companies, and having also guarantees for trade and for investment in Africa is very important. In order to increase the investment, there has to be either bank guarantees or insurance companies.
Yes. Yes. So, Ambassador Shalaby, Egypt is always supporting African continent and African countries. So what is the role that is played by Egypt, especially supporting African countries in establishing projects, and especially from the experience of Egypt in the infrastructure projects?
Yes, the importance now is to focus on industrial strategy, which has been placed as a slogan in COMESA. The industrial strategy has been placed between 2017 and 2026. And there is the African, of course, development agenda is 2036. So we have a short and we have a long-term executive plan for industry, for trade, and the infrastructure is mainly to promote the trade. So implementation of harbors, of airports, in order to send cargo ships, cargo planes full of goods is very important, because also there is a comparative advantage for trade and manufacture in goods in Africa because of the low price of labor.
Yes.
That is why Egypt has to invest in industrial factories or industrial products that are labor intensive more than capital intensive. And of course, there is a way to attract foreign investors.
Yes. I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information, Your Excellency, Ambassador Sou'ad Shalaby, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you very much for joining us over the phone. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, we come to the end of our episode, Africa Today. My name is Amal Mukhtar. Thank you for watching.